Hey everybody, it is Chris from Elemental Cartomancy. Hope you're all doing well. I'm coming on today to do the Tarot Shelf hashtag video response. I'm going to call it hashtag Tarot Shelf 2020. I've had a quick look on YouTube and I'm not 100% sure if that already exists. I know that there's 2018 and maybe 2019, but I'm not sure if this is really a video response to anyone. I know that I think it was maybe Simon that started the tarot shelf to begin with. So anyway, yeah. So I'm going to take you through my entire tarot deck collection, and I'm just going to add the oracle decks on at the end because I don't have all that many, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'm not going to flip through every single one. I've got a few that I will flip through, but it would be here too long if I did, I would imagine. So yeah, let's get started. I'm currently surrounded by tarot cards, so the idea is I'm going to put everything back in its place as I'm showing you. So yeah, so just bear with me whilst I do that, and if I don't put it back whilst I'm doing it, then I'm going to end up like literally surrounded in a card tower of all these tarot cards. So yeah, anyway, the first one that I've got here, these are in no particular order, by the way. The first deck that I have here to show you is the Everyday Enchantment Tarot by Poppy Palin. So it's this one. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. I've trimmed it and edged mine. So I've trimmed it, leaving just the let me just get the alignment right. There we go. So trimmed it, just leaving the title at the bottom and the colour with the kind of elemental association. And I have edged it in this kind of nice red colour, which I'm really pleased with. I took my sweet time about deciding what colour I was going to edge these in. I just couldn't decide. I initially thought a metallic kind of green would be nice, but then I don't know what it was. I decided let's go with red, and yeah, I'm really happy with the result. So yeah, that is the Everyday Enchantment Tarot by Poppy Palin. The next one is my beloved Marielle. I think I showed both of these last ones actually in the video response to Jen's Balance the Deck Scales. So yeah, my Marielle, it's the first edition Marielle, which I've trimmed all of the borders and the titles off of. I think I've managed to get to know it pretty well now, so I don't really need the titles to tell me what the card is. Trying to avoid giving you the glare on these glossy cards. There's a lovely hermit. Oh, the magician's sneaking out there. The magician was the card on the tarot playdate, which I'm just after being in. So yeah, he obviously wanted to just sneak in because he was the star of the show. So yeah, that's the Marielle. It's a fantastic deck for, you know, self-exploration, self-development. It's not one that I personally use so much for, you know, your kind of everyday fortune telling or like, you know, divination, predictive reading. I don't want to use any terms that people aren't happy with, but yeah, it's not a kind of reading everyday mundane events type thing. It's more kind of looking deep into yourself, the way I use it, the way I view it anyway. The next one that I've got here is the Da Vinci Enigma Tarot. This is a more unusual one, I think. I know that Joe the Tarot guy, I'm sure he's got a copy of this because I'm sure I've seen him talk about it. These are the backs, and the backs on this are funny. They're not all the same, but like you can join all the backs together and they make this big pattern if you put the cards together in a certain way. I think it's all made from art of Leonardo da Vinci, and just like work and papers that he's done. The suits are like fire, earth, air and water. So you can see there you've got the 5 of fire and it's got the keyword struggle. Not so sure I agree with all of them. The keywords aren't all keywords that resonate with me per se. Got the Lord of Air there, which I think is like your King of Swords. The major arcana are quite interesting as well because a lot of them change. So you've got like 6 as twins rather than the lovers. which is a bit unusual. I suppose it's that Gemini association, isn't it? Trying to remember. 12, I think, was it 12 that was Passover? In fact, it's right at the start there, it's there. 12 is Passover, which is quite different. I'm sure, now, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, and I do apologise if I am, but I think Passover was like the last plague of Egypt, wasn't it? When the firstborn son of all the Egyptians was killed, if I remember correctly. One is the magician, and I think that is Leonardo da Vinci himself. But anyway, that is the Da Vinci Enigma Tarot. It comes with a really pretty amazing book, in my opinion. There's quite a lot to it. It goes into everything. It explains, you know, what the intention of using, the intention of using each image for that card, and you know, the way I see it, it does everything that you want from a good guidebook. So this is definitely a pretty good deck, I would say. The next one that I've got is the Wildwood Tarot. This is one that I've trimmed down to just the images and the titles. I don't love it the way that it's ended up, because there's this just single white line down the bottom. I've kind of made my peace with it over time, but I don't know, I'm a wee bit pernickety about these things, so it kind of puts me off using it all that much, but I'm kind of getting used to it, getting over myself a wee bit. So yeah, that is the Wildwood. Let's see what else we've got here. I'm just going to turn my back to you, excuse me. So we've got the Anna Kay. This is the mass market edition that I've got. I got that reasonably recently. Shadowland Tarot, that was one of my Earth decks in my video response to Jen. I love this deck. It's such a quirky and unusual deck. It's just something really endearing about it, I think. Gino Marchetti's Tarot of Dreams. This is quite an unusual one in that it has 4 extra cards, I believe. It's like 4 extra court cards. It has an extra court card for each suit, so it's the Palace. So you don't just have the Page, Knight, Queen and King, you've also got the Palace of coins, wands, swords and cups. I've not worked with it enough to be able to tell you exactly what the Palace means, or what it was intended to mean, but it's an interesting one. The cards are slightly bigger than what we're used to. This is the last deck that I bought. This is the Raven's Prophecy, and I do quite like this one. I'll just grab a couple of cards. I've edged this in orange. Oh, you can't really see it there. There we go, that's a bit better. Edged this one in kind of orange colour that really goes well with the fronts, the borders around the front. So yeah, that is the Raven's Prophecy. Right, I think we'll start going through these ones. So let's see. So here we've got, this is the Thoth, the Book of Thoth Tarot by Aleister Crowley. Again, this is one that I've trimmed. I've taken it down to just the image plus the title at the bottom, but I'm actually thinking about trimming it all together and taking the titles off, because I really like the way that it looks. The reason that I didn't do that is I trimmed this years and years ago, and I wasn't, and to be honest, I'm still not familiar enough with the cards to feel confident in reading it without the titles. To be fair, it's a pip deck, so it probably wouldn't be too difficult. I should maybe just kind of get it done, and it would probably be fine. But it's not a deck that I'm not really much of a Thothy person. So it's not a deck that I use terribly often. So I'm not really in any hurry to get it done. The next one that we've got here, I think this is Legacy. Yeah, Legacy of the Divine. So these are the backs. It's another Ciro Marchetti deck. This is a funny one because I really like this deck, and I really like the images. I like the way that it's done. I particularly like this deck. I always mention it when we talk about the Tower and the Star, because obviously in the major arcana, the Star Arcanum comes after the Tower. And in this deck, I don't know if I'll be able to find it quick enough to show you. I'm not even going to try actually. You can actually see the crashed down tower in the background of the Star card, and that's something that I really like about this deck. But unfortunately, it's as much as I've tried, it just doesn't seem to speak all that much to me. Just not a deck that that I seem to gel with. That seems very readable for me. But maybe one day, you know, I'll keep it in here, and one day I'll use it and it'll start speaking to me, I'm sure. But that day is still to come. We've got the Hanson Roberts Tarot. This is the kind of quite a smaller deck. Quite unusual bases on some of them. Got this. Now, this is actually the first deck that I ever got was the Rider-Waite Smith, the kind of original Rider-Waite Tarot, the one with the kind of blue and white lily backs. This is, apart from that, this is the second deck that I ever received. Now it comes with this book. I'm just going to call it the Jonathan D Tarot. I don't really think it has a proper name. It's actually the images on it. I'll see if I can quickly get it out. I'll show you some of the images. It is quite Thoth Marseille-ish. It's quite Pippish. So like you've got like kind of images like that. It's the Sun card, so your majors. So the illustrations are quite nice. Kind of tempted to get another one and to trim it down to just the images. So it's not the most Pippish deck in the world there. You can see that's quite it's quite scenic. But then you get cards like that. There's the Two of Swords. And I've got the kind of older one, I think, with these backs. So yeah, what I'm calling the Jonathan D Tarot, it's quite an unusually thin deck, so it is. The cardstock, I mean, I'm not really a cardstock person. That doesn't really bother me. It's not something I think about, but it is quite thin. So it's maybe something that would bother some people. Let me see if I can show you in comparison to a more normal cardstock. So this is Tarot of the Witches by Fergus Hall, and I don't know if you can really see that, but it's quite a bit thinner by several cards. It doesn't help when I'm blowing them up like that, by several cards. So yeah, let's see it better that way if I put them together. So yeah, quite an unusually thin deck. So yeah, the other one that I just showed there was Tarot of the Witches by Fergus Hall. So that was the kind of James Bond tarot. I loved James Bond growing up. I still do. I've got them all on DVD. So yeah, I got this one just because I saw this in the film. And yeah, it's a charity card. That was one of the cards that was in the film. When James Bond was reading Solitaire's tarot cards, and he had the deck with all the stacked with all the lovers cards. I was quite disappointed when I first got this deck, because I don't know if any of you guys have noticed this when you watch the film, but the film gives you the impression that it's scenic pips. So it does. At the start, when she's you know, when he's on the plane, and when she, you know, the first time when you see her reading her tarot cards, you see them being put onto the table, and there's definitely scenic pips in that. So I just had it in my head that this was going to be a scenic pip deck, but unfortunately it's not. I think there was just a couple of cards that were designed just for the film. So I was tricked, but never mind. It's still a nice deck. What's this? This is the Ellen Dugan Witches Tarot. So very kind of Rider-Waite Smith-esque. You know, the images are quite they're different from it, but they follow it quite closely. It's the 8 of Wands. and these are the backs. So that is that one. I'd say this is probably quite, it's not one that I use very often, if I'm honest. It's probably quite a good beginner deck, to be fair, if you're if you do follow like a Wiccan or pagan path, or you know, that kind of thing. Let's see, this is I've got the medieval Scapini deck. This is quite a nice one. It's like one of those older Italian decks, but it's got scenic pips, which I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to say that a lot in this video, but I think that's quite unusual for these decks to have scenic pips. So there you've got like the 10 of coins, and you can see like the kind of the grandiose castle and the background. It's got these kind of nice, it reminds me of the Visconti Sforza a bit, I guess. Yeah, 3 of cups. So yeah, that's a really nice one. I know that Lucian's done a walkthrough of this deck on Crossed Paths, so definitely check that out if you're interested in seeing a flip through of all of the cards. Probably quite a lot of people that have done walkthroughs, but I'm pretty sure that Lucian has, because I'm sure I watched that. We've got the Quantum Tarot. I did maths at uni, so maths and physics in my first year actually. So I'm quite interested in that kind of stuff still. So I thought this would be one that would speak to me. To be fair, I don't really use it all that much. It is like really interesting the way they've done it. They've been quite careful about all the images that they've selected. They've managed to make it both Rider-Waite-Smith-esque. It's got scenes in the pips. You know, there's your 2 of Wands. You know, you've got the kind of globe, you've got the 2 wands, you know, that idea of planning your journey. You've got the 3 of Wands, which, you know, it has this idea of kind of just setting out on your journey. So yeah, the scenes are quite, the pips are quite scenic, but also it depicts its concepts in quantum physics, as far as I'm aware, and that there's reason behind all of the scenes that they've depicted, and all of that is in the, you know, it explains it in the kind of guidebook. So it is one that I'm quite impressed with, but it's not one that I've really read much with. Trying desperately not to make too much of a mess here. Next one, so this is like the Prediction Tarot, I think this is referred to as. It's by Sasha Fenton. It was given to me by a friend, so I'll always keep it, but it's not really one that resonates much with me. Non-scenic pips, even the artwork and the scenic cards, like the majors and stuff, it doesn't really speak to me all that much. There's nothing wrong with it, just personal taste, I guess. So yeah, the Prediction Tarot by Sasha Fenton, I believe that is. These are just runes that I made myself when I was, you know, in my teens. I'd been interested in getting started using runes, and I thought, well, I'll make up some cards with the runes on it and see how I got on with it, essentially just using it like a card deck rather than stones. Yeah, again, it's not something that I use all that often, if I'm totally honest, but the intentions were there, and I've kept it all this time, so maybe I'll pick it up again at some point. We've got this is the Dishonored Tarot, Dishonored Tarot deck. This is actually just a kind of prop from a game, a PS3 game, I believe, called Dishonored. I'm not going to open this actually, because once it's opened, it is so hard. It's like Pandora. It's almost impossible, nigh on impossible to get that back in this box. But it's such an odd deck. It's like, I don't think it's really intended as a, you know, it was mainly intended to be a game type deck for a game that's, can I remember what it's called? No, I can't. So I'm not even going to try. But it's a game that's in the PlayStation 3 game. So yeah, I think it's mostly intended for that. It's quite unusual in that the majors are pretty much all changed. Card 21, it's still got like a major arcana and 4 suits, but the suits are like swords, pistols, rats, and skulls. And the majors are like all changed, and like death is the last one, you know. So death is card number 21. I think the first one is like judgment or something, if I remember rightly, but it is quite an unusual one. This, now, I had actually looked out the box for this, there it's there. I'm not really sure what to even call this, to be honest with you, because it's quite hard. Now, I did look it up. So it's this tarot deck that comes in this box. I'd looked up the creators before when I was putting stuff onto a spreadsheet, and I've forgotten. So written by Bridget Reed and illustrations by Colin Howard. So we'll call it the Reed Howard Tarot deck, shall we? This is the book. I don't want to be too, you know, too rude about it, but it's not really a very good book, if I'm totally honest. It doesn't really tell. It's one of those ones where if you're just starting out, then it doesn't give you anywhere near enough information. If you've been reading, you know, if you're a seasoned tarot reader, then it doesn't tell you anything about why certain images were selected. So, I mean, you can almost just throw this away, but I keep it on my shelf anyway. Maybe one day I'll throw it out, but yeah, this actually, when I got this, it had massive borders. Like, they're quite huge cards. I don't even have something that I can use. I suppose there's a kind of normal, that's a box, but it's a box of a normal kind of size tarot deck. This card is even bigger than the box, and that's after I've trimmed it. So yeah, quite a massive deck. I've trimmed it down to just the images, which actually is really nice. Again, it's non-scenic pips. It is just like 7 coins shown, 3 wands. But the illustrations on this, so I think that's that's justice actually. The illustrations are really nice. There's a magician, quite a nice magician. Again, the magician from Tarot Playday. It's showing up big time. And I've kind of edged it in gold, but to be honest, that's almost like kind of all but worn away. So yeah, what did I say I was calling it? The Reed Howard Tarot deck. Let's see. So again, I'll apologise that I'm turning my back to you quite a lot. The Morgan Greer Tarot. The Porn Stash Tarot deck. I say that, I love this tarot deck. It's you know, it's very close to Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's different enough. It's borderless, and it's just really well illustrated and done really well. Yeah, not much more to say about that. And that one I'm looking at, this, oh yeah, this is the Vampire Tarot of the Vampires, I think it's called, or the Vampire Tarot. I did look up who it was by, but again, wonder if I can, oh yeah, I've got it here. Natalie Hertz made this, so this is again kinda non-scenic pips, but some of them are quite scenic, to be fair. So you've got your Four of Wands, King of Swords, quite darkish. I quite like it though. These are the backs, and I've edged it in black. So that's the Vampire Tarot. I think we're going through these quite at a reasonably good pace. So the next one I've got here, that's the one I was using as a size comparison. So this is the Egyptian Tarot, by, I'll have it here, is it Sylvia or something? Egyptian Tarot by, oh, Sylvana Alasia or Alasia. So this is the Egyptian Tarot. This is it's quite pippy. There's non-scenic pips, but she's also made the Tarot Nefertari. This one, I know that Sandra at the Whispering Well has done an excellent walkthrough of this deck. This is really nice. It's got scenic pips, so it has, it illustrates all the pips. So there's like your 6 of cups. I do have to say that it's got these kind of shiny gold foil backgrounds, and it's the light's reflecting from everything, so I'm not sure how well you can see that. But yeah, there's your 5 of wands. So yeah, this is a really kind of well done and really nice deck, I think. Yeah, we'll try and fight with that to get that back in there just now. We can deal with that later. Right, so on to these ones. So anyone that knows me, kind of has seen me a couple of times, will know that I use this one. This is my soul deck, Lightseers Tarot. Use this all the time. Edged in green quite recently. Oh, that's the side of the box, Chris. Edged that in green quite recently. Yeah, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Excellent deck. We've got The Wild Unknown by Kim Kranz. I do really kind of enjoy this deck. It's the mass market edition, so that's the backs. Yeah, I think this is quite a well-known one. There's your 10 of wands, sorry, I beg your pardon, 10 of cups. So yeah, this is a really nice deck. I don't know why I've got the Ace of Swords turned round on it. Anyway, so that was The Wild Unknown. The next one is the New Era Elements by Eleanor Piper. Again, mass market edition. This is a nice deck. It's quite different. You know, a lot of thought is going into the illustrations. I do find it to be quite thoughty, the kind of the associations that she's made. So some of the pips, some of the keywords that she's chosen she has chosen, they aren't necessarily what I would normally use to you know, how I would normally define that card, but that's fine. That's for me to kind of expand my knowledge and grow as a reader. Yeah, the next one, Trionfi della Luna by Patrick Valenza. Yeah, this is pretty much the only proper Marseille style deck that I've got. I really like that one. The Fountain Tarot. This is a strange one because in theory I should love it, and I should be using it all the time, and you know, on paper it's one that I should really kind of gel with and enjoy, but I don't know why, I just don't seem to have used it all that much. It's the mass market edition again, nice silver sides. So the Lovers, Queen of Swords. So yeah, it's maybe one of those ones that I just need to kind of give it a go, give it a decent go, and I'll kind of get to know it a bit better. But yeah, like I say, it's just one of those ones that I've never really kind of picked up. So that's the Fountain. Sorry, as I say, I'm just putting these back as we go through them. Otherwise, they're all going to end up everywhere. Right, and just home run now, we're getting to the last bunch. So this is the light grey tarot. This is one of these decks that's been designed by, it's been drawn by, I believe, 78 different artists. Don't think they've doubled up. I actually really like it. Although it's, you know, it does have that higgledy-piggledy feel because it's, you know, it's different artists that have drawn it. Some of it is quite, I'll try to show you an example. There's the 10 of Swords, right? So you can kind of see the art style that they've been going for there. It's quite, almost quite cartoony, video gamey. That is more of a kind of photographic. If you look at those hands, they look photographic to me. Or collage style, you know, whatever you want to call it. I'd say that's kind of different again. So yeah, it does have that kind of feel, but I don't know, there's something that I still just really like about it. So yeah, that's the light grey tarot. I've got the Gilded Tarot by Ciro Marchetti. That came with the, gosh, what's it called, the Easy Tarot set. I can't remember what it's exactly called, but it's like the Easy Tarot set or the Easy Tarot collection or something. It's another one of those ones that it's like Pandora. Once it's out the box, it's nigh on impossible to get back in, so we're not going to go there. The Deviant Moon Tarot, the borderless edition I've got. This is again one of my decks that I selected for the video response to Jen's hashtag. I love this one just because this was given to me by my partner for as a Christmas present. So this is always going to have really special meaning for me. And it's a really nice deck as well. I really like it to read with. I've got the yellow box, Rider-Waite Smith. This is just there's nothing. This is the kind of mass one that you can get today. It's got the titles, quite garish colours. Yeah, I like it. I actually really like the backs on this. So I got it because I wanted a Rider-Waite Smith with the plaid backs. I'd seen it on. Where had I seen it? It was a programme that was on in the 90s on Channel 5, if any of my fellow Brits can remember. It was called Sunset Beach, and there was a tarot reader on it called Madame Carmen, and she read with the Rider-Waite tarot deck. I would imagine it would have been one of the kind of older vintage editions, just because of when that was, when that was kind of filmed and stuff. But yeah, that was what made me want to get that. I've got. This is the one that I was talking about before. So I've got two versions of this. I've got this one, which is just I've not altered this in any way, and I've got this. So it's the same deck. I didn't intend to double buy it. I thought I'd intended to buy the Universal Rider-Waite Smith, the one with the kind of different colouring, but I got this in the post like by mistake or whatever, and I just never did anything about it because I can be quite lazy like that. So I ended up with two copies, but I trimmed this one down, and I like to use this one. It's in a bit of a state because it's like the oldest deck that I've got, I think. But yeah, those backs. I've got my own borderless, and it's a borderless where I was just talking about it in Tarot Playdate. The borderless Centennial, the Centennial Rider-Waite Smith borderless edition. Simon at the Irvin's Cave pointed this out on one of his videos. The on the magician cards, the kind of floral, the flowering that kind of hangs above them, it just floats in midair, which is really annoying. So for that reason, I've never bothered to buy it, and I probably never will, because it's all I can see now. These are also the same, but one is a borderless and one isn't. So this is the Witches, the Canon Reed Witches tarot deck, Kelly Bear. So this is the reason that I first found the YouTube tarot community. I was looking for this deck and I found Kelly Bear's walkthrough of it, which is absolutely hilarious. She wasn't very impressed by it at all. It's an odd deck. It's one of those ones that switches. The swords are fire and the wands are air. The quartz, I'll see if I can quickly show you what I mean. The quartz are like, it's almost as though they couldn't be bothered designing the quartz properly. So it's like the same, except it's like a cup is substituted in or a wand is substituted in. Right, there we go. I've got two kings so I can show you what I mean. So you can see the King of Swords and the King of Wands here. The colouring of their robes is changed. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. It's the same guy, it's the same card. It's just his instrument and the colour of his of what he's wearing that's changed. And it does that with all the courts. But that said, I still do quite like this deck. a bit of nudity in it. So there's the Justice card. So I've got the other one that I've got is just, it's got like a thin black border around it. Nudity alert, but there we go, there's the Lover's card. So yeah, it's quite an interesting art style, the way it has been done, quite detailed. There's a Wheel of Fortune, Five of Pentacles. It's quite unusual in that, you know, some of the associations, like some of the meanings of the cards, quite different. Just looking to see if I can find an example of what I'm talking about. Yeah, Eight of Swords appears to be, yeah, 4 guys running. Or I don't know if it's like essentially the same guy. All got moustaches. But yeah, it looks like 4 guys running with a sword in each hand, but doesn't really scream Eight of Swords to me. But yeah, so it is quite an unusual one, but I like it nonetheless. So unless there's something hiding from me, then I think that is my entire tarot collection. So that just leaves me to show you my kind of non-tarot cards that I've got. Like I say, there aren't that many of them, so this won't take long. On top here, that's just a deck of playing cards that I got from the supermarket Morrison's. I've popped it in here. I do intend to take up playing card divination. It's something that I'm really interested in. And the name of the channel has that, so elemental cartomancy. It would encompass playing card divination as well. So that's definitely something that I want to look into, but for now that I use it for playing like kind of solitaire patience type thing, and it's there because I'm kind of wanting to learn to use it for divination. This is my only Lenormand deck, so this is the Gilded Reverie, that's what it's called. Yeah, Gilded Reverie Lenormand by Ciro Marchetti. It's got these lovely gold foiled sides. The cards themselves are really well done, really nice. It's quite difficult to use. It's not a riffle shuffler really, unless it's just one of those ones that you need to work in. And I've not worked with it enough. But I'm really not a Lenormand reader. Again, it's one of the things that I intend to, that I want to kind of take up, I want to look into and learn about. But right now I'm certainly not to any degree of competency. We've got the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit cards. I do really like these. The only thing is I'm really not clued up on my chakras, and I really need to learn about that. There's 7 spirit cards in it, so that it's quite an unusual oracle deck in that it does have so it has the 4 suits. It has your, you know, your earth cards, your air cards, fire and water. So you can see here the peacock is associated to the element of air. You've got the swan is associated to water. And that's pretty much how the deck works. And then you've got your 7 spirit cards, which there's 1 for each chakra. So there, for example, you've got the black egg. That's one of the spirit cards. And actually, do you know what? I can't remember which chakra that even associates with. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the cosmic egg is your head, your first chakra. The dragon is the Kundalini, I think. But yeah, that's the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit by Kim Kranz. So I'm a big fan of the artwork and the colour work in that. Got the Soul Cards 1 and Soul Cards 2. So I combine these and use these as one deck, but I've said before it's a pretty massive deck. I can just about manage to shuffle it. I don't know what I'm going to do when Soul Cards 3 comes out. I just need to find a new method of shuffling, I guess, because I can't have 1 and 2 and not have 3 in there. I don't really want to use them as 3 separate decks, so we'll see. And then last but by no means least, I've got my Zoracle, my Toke Witch Oracle by Zane the Toke Witch in our community. He kind of put this together from royalty-free photographs that he found online. For me personally, this is an amazing deck. It's the deck that kind of inspired me to use Oracle, because to be honest, I'd only really used Tarot before I used this, but this I find just really speaks to me. That's the shadow. You can't really see it very well on the camera, but it does say shadow down the bottom. Yeah, I know that Zane intends to do a proper walkthrough, so I won't walk you through each and every one, but yeah, there's no guidebook or anything like that. You just kind of come up with your own meanings, and I know that some of the meanings that I've pulled from some of the cards are different from, you know, what Zane had said that he uses. But I've used it. I used it in one of the readings videos that I did with Cross Paths with Dave. I used it to read for the entire 2 hours, and it worked really well. So it did. So yeah, it's a fantastic deck. I'd encourage you to check it out. So guys, that's us. That's my entire collection of tarot and non-tarot card decks. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any that you're, you know, that you didn't know about that you're now interested in. If there's any unusual ones where you can't find a walkthrough of it online and you would like to see a walkthrough, then please do give me a shout and let me know. I'd be more than happy to do that for you. I'd said before in my last video that my intention is to do walkthroughs but with a bit of a difference. So my idea is to do, I'm thinking of calling it tarot tryouts. So instead of doing a card flip through or reading out from the book and stuff like that, what I would do is do like a free readings, a live free readings kind of session, kind of like what I've done with the other guys before, but using a particular deck to try out that deck, and to let you see how it reads, how I read it, you know. For me, one of the things that I think is quite good to see before I buy a deck is how it reads. That's what these cards are for, isn't it? Is that we use them to read with. So I thought it would be maybe quite good for people to be able to see how they read, you know, as part of that walkthrough process. So that's what I'm looking to do here. So if there's any particular decks that you would like to see me read with in one of these lives that I'm hopefully going to be doing soon, then please do let me know. Get in touch with me either in the comments of this video. You can email me at elementalcartomancy@gmail.com, or if you've got me on Facebook, then send me a wee private message and we'll have a chat. But yeah, I'm really interested in hearing what you guys think and what you guys would like to see me read with. So yeah, that is the video for today, guys. Thank you very much. I know that it's a long one today, so thanks very much for watching it. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and yeah, I'll hopefully speak to you all soon.